Hey guys, it's Thomas Rayo again, and this is my final video for GRI 201. I'm going to be talking about my personal identity and obviously some contemporary scholarship that we talked about in this class. To start off, I took this class to learn something new. It was really interesting when I saw gender, race, and identity. I was like, oh, awesome. Coming from a small little town in Gardnerville, um, we never had things like this, so taking a class like this is really important to me. And like showing up the first day was so cool. Like just seeing how diverse the class was, um, and seeing everyone's identity. It was really awesome. Being a white person, I was a little apprehensive to start speaking at first until I realized that like another part of my identity, being gay, was also something I could bring to the class and relate to a lot of the things we were talking about in the class. And I was really overjoyed to feel the acceptance of the whole class, because usually I don't get that back home. So having a class like this is really awesome. And now I'm going to move into more of what we talked about in the class. The first thing that we talked about was the color line, and that's two circles, two identities. There's a white space and a non-white space, and that's separated by what you could call a physical line or even an imaginary line if you wanted to think about it that way. And the color line to me was really interesting. And another thing we talked about that was really interesting to me was racial capitalism. We brought it up with examples like, oh, I have a black friend, so I can say that, or oh, I have a gay friend, so it's okay. And that was really interesting to me, and I actually started relating it to myself once we started talking about intersectionality, and that's where there's like an interconnectedness of all these ideas. And later on this semester, I was like, I could totally incorporate my identity with these two awesome concepts we learned in class, which was obviously the color line and racial identity. I wanted to tie in sexuality, both those things. With the color line, I was thinking more of there's like an LGBT space and a straight space or non-LGBT space. And I find this concept kind of cool because for me, having people who are LGBT and can understand my perspective rather than people who are non-LGBT or straight, I just thought this concept would be really cool to bring up. And with intersectionality, I feel like it's appropriate to bring up. The other thing is racial capitalism, which I was going to tie sexuality into as well. And that's, in my mind, like using gay people or LGBT people or queer people for someone else's gain, like either marketing towards them or marketing against them. Things like, oh, I have a gay friend, it's okay to say that. Things like that would fall under racial capitalism. So that was like some cool concepts that I learned from the class and tied into my own identity. Another thing in class was some readings we did, and one of them that stood out to me was Gloria Anzaldúa. She's a Chicano woman who's also lesbian, and although I can't relate to her on being non-white or female, I did relate to her on being part of the LGBT community. And reading her perspective on just like her life was like really interesting to me, and I actually wrote about her in one of her papers. I actually am really glad that I read about her because now I want to like move on and read more about her and like really study her because I find her very interesting, and I credit learning about her to this class. So, alright, so that's my video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to everyone in this class. You guys were awesome. I loved having conversations with you, debates, talking about different topics. That was awesome. I want to give a huge thank you to Jody. You really changed my view on a lot of things, and I am very thankful that you taught this class. And again, thank you to everyone who shared those personal stories. It was really awesome to see that. Alright, thanks guys. I'll talk to you later.